I'm super excited to invite Hannah to the broadcast. How are you doing, Hannah?
Hello, I'm doing so well. How are you?
I'm awesome. It's so cool to see you again. It's been, I was trying to
Oh my
think, is
gosh.
like 2018 or not, I don't remember when it
Well, I think
was.
I was just looking back in the pictures
Uh huh.
from the event, and I think it was 2021.
Okay.
But even still, gosh, that's gonna be 5 years already,
I
and time
can't,
has just flown, but
uh,
it was a blast.
no, I can't believe it. And it's crazy to think that 5 years ago, that would have been our like sixth, I think our sixth one ever. And now we're going on 12 this year. So
That's
I was just
incredible.
like, dude, yeah, it's really, really, really cool. I gotta give you props on your cool setup there, man. You have to. I know we're gonna talk
Oh
about a lot of
gosh.
things, but you got to tell me what
Thank
kind of
you.
kit that is. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. This is my first Gretsch. So when I first signed with
Beautiful.
Gretsch, I think I was 16 or 17, and this was the first kit that they sent me, and it's the Gretsch Renowned Maple, and I have just always been in love with this kit. It's also what I recorded all the Prince stuff on, but this was the one that was set up in the studio, and then I had my USA Custom that went on the road with us. But this is the Old Faithful, man. I love her so much.
It's so beautiful. Wow.
Thank
And
you.
I'm like I'm like squirrel. I see your drum set back there, and then I have to talk about your drums. But let's tell everybody a little bit about you. So the main thing that we know you for is playing with Prince, but you've done many
Yeah.
different things. So tell everybody about your kind of career, what all you've done.
Oh my gosh. Well, I would
Well,
say
we
Prince is
only have a certain amount of
probably
time, so take it easy. Just
no, yeah,
kidding.
right. Oh my gosh, no. Prince is probably, I would say, the coolest thing in my career. I mean, how many people can say that they've jammed with literally by definition the greatest of all time? Like
Yeah, legendary.
we throw goat around a lot, I think,
Hmm.
in today's society, and
Right.
we like to say that a lot of people are some sort of creative genius, and we use those words, goat, genius, and
Right.
but I think it's actually very rare that we have someone that actually fits the bill for that,
Well, yeah,
and
like Prince
Prince was
falls in.
that guy.
Yeah, he like falls into the same categories like Michael Jackson and then Madonna and
Yes,
Cher and like all those just
yes,
legendary performers. So to be able to
yes,
have
yes,
said that
yes, yes.
you gigged with him for a while and did all the things is just so cool, man. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it was definitely a life-changing experience, especially to have that present itself at, what was that? I think I had literally just turned 22 when I met him. And so I was just this young woman, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, trying to make it in the
Heck
industry. And
yeah,
then I
man.
get this call. But I after Prince passed, I guess I did do a couple spot dates with CeeLo Green, which was also another really cool experience. And
Nice.
I got to travel to places that we didn't go with Prince. So I got to see and experience a little bit of South America, went to Brazil, and played in Rock in Rio with CeeLo, which was really cool. So um, I did do that, and then honestly, just had a really, really nonstop grind from really the moment I started playing the drums at 7 all the way up until, Prince discovered me at 22. So, played a lot locally. I was in a number of local bands, had my own band that I led from behind the drums, vocally as well, called the Hannah Ford Band, because Ford
Wow.
is my maiden name.
Uh huh. Yep.
And so I've just had a lot of really cool, unorthodox life experiences, gigging in bars when I was 12, in a band of old guys with my dad. And just, I wouldn't trade it for the world, my upbringing and the lessons that I learned and the experiences that I had. And went to Chicago College of Performing Arts for a couple years just freshman and sophomore year of college, straight out of high school. And then I was gigging and traveling so much that I was like, I think I need to step away. I can always come back and finish school if I wanted to do that and get my degree. But right now, you know, while I don't know what's that saying? While the kettle's hot or something like that.
Yeah. So,
While the calls are coming,
strike
I'm
while the
gonna
kettle's
go.
hot, something like that.
Yes. Yeah. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's it.
Wow. Well, Hannah, like, what was the first thing that like drew you to drums when you were 7 years old? Had you been kind of like eyeballing him for a while? Like, what was your first like thing that pulled you in?
You know, I kind of some people might even say it was just by happenstance or coincidence, but I don't. I believe everything is just way too intentional and is aligned too intentionally to be coincidental. But I actually was a dancer from the age of 3, and so I was knee deep in just performance and entertaining, and I loved to be on the stage, and I loved music, and so I was well acquainted with just rhythm and performance by the time I got to 7. But then the language arts teacher that I had in 3rd grade, she also was the founder of a percussion group that was based out of our elementary school. And if you had her as your 3rd grade teacher, she would just teach you how to play percussion on our downtime. So we would be working on our schoolwork, and once everything was done, it would be like, okay, let's take a break and go play some drums. And that is
Dude,
how I
that's
learned to play the
awesome.
drums. Yeah,
That's
and it
so
was just
cool.
really, again, unorthodox,
Yeah.
non-traditional
Right.
upbringing, but I loved it so much. And the moment that the first thing I actually learned to play was marimba. So I didn't even play drum set or even Latin percussion. I played marimba and I learned some major scales. And if you wanted to, you could audition to be a part of the percussion group, which is now known as the Louisville Leopard Percussionists. And because I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, if y'all didn't know.
Go girl.
But you could you could audition to be in that group if you wanted to, and I did because I fell in love with it, and I auditioned, I made it, and we gigged locally all around Louisville, Kentucky, and then also traveled across the states to different events. We played at Percussive Arts Society, and we even went to Orlando and you know got to visit Disney World and perform and all sorts of really cool stuff. But that's how I got into it. My 3rd grade teacher taught me.
That's so cool, man. And like you said,
Yeah.
unorthodox. I mean, like I definitely never had any opportunity like that growing up for sure, you know.
Mm,
And but what led you to like drum set from there? Was it like did they have a drum
yeah.
set that you got to play on too, or was it mostly
Yes.
percussion?
So I just a lot of times when we hear, you know, it's a group of kids playing percussion, you know, we'll downplay kids a lot of the time, but this was actually a legit, it still is a legit organization full of kids where the instrumentation, they've got all sorts of marimba, xylophone, vibraphone, bells, they've got keyboards, they've got drum sets, it's congas, bongos, all sorts of toys and percussion. And she teaches these kids how to play it all. And what's really cool about this is that you learn by ear. I don't know if maybe they're getting into reading now, all these years later, but when I was in the group all those years ago, everything was by ear. We would listen to songs on the boombox, and then we'd break down our parts. So we'd break down the melody, we'd break down the bass line, we'd break down the backgrounds and the harmonies, and we'd learn what key the song was in. And she would pick certain people to play the lead parts on specific songs. And then if you played a lead part, you would even have the opportunity to take a solo and improvise a solo over the chord changes.
Oh wow.
And each song you move to a different instrument.
Uh huh.
And so I got placed on drum set uh, at some point in my journey. And I remember the first song I ever played on drum set was Sidewinder, the jazz standard.
Wow.
And yeah, she placed me on drum set for that, and it clicked, and it just felt so natural and right at home. And so that was the first song I learned to play on drum set, and you know, the rest is history.
Well, and it sounds like your parents were huge supported of you and hooked you
Yes.
up. I mean, what was the first kit they got you? Did they get you something around that age, or
Oh
did you
my
kind of have to
gosh.
hold out?
Yeah, so for Christmas, I got my very first drum set was like a little black 5-piece Remo kit. And Man, I played that thing to the ground, and I think we still have it. My dad might have it somewhere, or it might be in storage. I'm not sure, but I know we never got rid of it, so it's
That's
somewhere.
so cool, man. I
But
envy that.
yeah,
That's so cool if you still have it. You got to find out, like send me a
I
picture
know.
or
I gotta
something.
find out where it is. Look, I honestly, I could even have it in all of my gear and just not even realize it. So I've got to go through that stuff and
You
clean it out
do,
and see
man.
what we
Yeah,
have.
you should like make it into like some kind of like home art or something. I mean, don't wreck it or
That would
anything,
be
but like,
cool.
make it like at a coffee table or something, or that would be so
Yeah.
cool and just so special, to have something like that.
Yeah, and honestly, I have 5 kids now, and I'm pregnant with another one.
I was just
And
reading
it
that. I
would
was like,
even be
number
cool.
6. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
Number 6,
Oh my
girl.
God.
Yeah,
You can
man.
start
Woo!
like a big band, not even just a small band.
Literally, literally, no, we are starting top
Yes.
tier, big band, all the instrumentation. But yeah, a couple of the kids have even, mentioned that they wanna learn how to play the drums, which is cool because Joshua and I, even though we're both extremely musical and, um, I it's what we've done with our careers and our lives, we've been really intentional to not push it on the kids, but literally all of our kids, from our oldest to our youngest, are extremely musical. They have incredible ears, and
Isn't
a
that
couple of them
awesome?
have even mentioned that they wanna maybe play the drums. So it would be cool to see them on that little Remo kit for the very
Yeah,
first
it's
time, maybe.
it's genetics, man. Genetics at play, and you guys got, like you said, it's gonna have your band. I just want to know, like, when you
Yeah.
start thinking of a band name for you.
The Welton 5
The
or
Welton
the
Five.
Welton what will it be? The Welton 8 at this
Yeah. Oh my
point, but
gosh, man, that's crazy.
woo!
That's like, I don't know. It's like a whole basketball team or something, or softball, whatever. You've got it
Literally,
all.
whatever it is, we've got it.
You've got
It's
it.
all basketball, volleyball, softball, band, whatever it is, we've got all the bodies covered.
That's so funny. So when you think about like learning like the details in music, like writing music and reading music and stuff like that,
Yeah.
who do you kind of attribute that to? Like, who is your mentor?
Oh, wow. I have to attribute a lot of just my love for good music to my dad. My dad was my manager growing up, and he also really took me under his wing because he is also a musician. He played trumpet for a really long time, and uh, we kind of went on this musical journey together. And so, although we didn't write together and he didn't necessarily teach me how to write, he did 100% pour into my affinity toward just good classic music. We would have jazz Sundays so that when we were in the car driving to church or going wherever we were going, Sundays were set apart for jazz. And then on other days, we would listen to classic rock, we'd listen to funk, we'd listen to pop, we'd listen to horn bands, we'd listen to the blues. He just really made sure that I had a versatile palette at a really young age. And that caused me to fall in love with great storytelling, great writing, great music when I was little. And that never really left me. So I think him for sure, my dad is a huge influence in that regard, just by what he exposed me to at a really early age. Love the Carpenters. I love Karen
Oh my
Carpenter,
God, she's a
especially
beast
as I mean,
drummer.
she just beast drummer, and then
God, man.
also as a singer even, her
Yeah.
voice is just butter. It's so
Oh yeah.
classic, and
God,
so,
man.
I mean, you wanna talk about great writing, beautiful, beautiful orchestration, killer playing on the drums, and a beautiful vocalist. I mean, all of it is right there, but,
Like the whole
yeah, I mean,
package.
yeah, really, it is the whole package, and so I think, I never really had I'm trying to think, I don't think I ever really had someone teach me about writing as much as it was just I grew up in music, and so I was just always around and exposed to, great music, and you start to really adopt the language, and you start to pick up things naturally, and you build your own sound and your own preferences through that, and then at that point, it's just expression, it's creativity, and it comes from you.
So whenever you would, so like Prince calls you up and he's like, "Hey, Hannah, I need you to go on tour with me or whatever," and he's like, "Here's the set list." What are the steps that you take to learn music?
Yeah, that's funny because that never happened that way. That would have been cool though.
Well, I mean, was
It
there a point
Oh,
that you
he
had to
just
learn some other music somewhere along the line, and
yes.
you had to figure out
No,
like
for sure.
what your plan was for that, right?
Yeah, no, totally. So I think, uh, my memory, honestly, I have to credit my memory to my mamaw. My mom has a great memory, so I get my memory from my mom, and then she got her memory from her mom. So I don't know about great grandma, but my mamaw has an incredible memory to begin with, and I know I got that from her. So having a good memory and being
Right,
able to just kind of remember stuff
right,
very quickly,
right.
um, and internalize it is a gift, and it's really important, and it's
Absolutely.
also a tool that you can exercise it and expand on. So first and foremost, genetically my memory is on point because of my mamaw, so I have to hats off to
That's
Joy.
so cool. She got the
um
mama memory, people.
yes,
We're gonna get shirts
exactly.
made. That's awesome. Well, it is huge
Yeah.
important. I mean, people. I do a lot of chicken scratch on my piece of paper, when I'm at the
Yes,
kit and
yep,
things like that.
yep,
But
yep,
so many people I know write it out or you do the Nashville number system and stuff like that, and just different
right,
things. So it's always interesting to
yeah.
hear like how people go about learning music.
Yeah, no, no, no. So, yeah, memory is important, but then also Prince was actually he really did emphasize and encourage like bring a notebook, get a notebook, have a notebook for rehearsals, because he actually gave when Third Eye Girl started, he gave us probably a list of I don't know, at least 100 songs to start with, to
Oh
learn,
my God,
sharpen,
100 songs.
rehearse.
And how fast,
Girl,
like how quickly did you have to learn those 100 songs?
oh, I don't there wasn't really a timestamp, but with him, it was just like, now.
Yeah, yeah, right. Yesterday.
Get it done. Yeah.
Right, right.
And it was the best. Like, it was just the best work environment, and you're just surrounded by people that are incredible, and it was so fun and exhilarating, but, yeah, it was just kinda like, we're gonna lock in these songs so that I can call them at any given moment, and they're gonna be tight, and until all of this stuff is tight, then we're not gonna perform, we're not gonna do stuff, you know what I mean? So, we rehearsed, gosh, I mean, we would go in probably 1 PM, and then we'd rehearse until dinner. We'd break for maybe an hour for dinner and then come back at it and rehearse until 10, 11,
Were
12
you
at
guys?
night.
Would you guys rehearse just as a band, and then then we'd be like, okay, I think we're ready to come in or whatever, and like you wait to
Yeah,
that
so
certain point.
initially, when we first got started, that's what it was, especially because, he doesn't need to be down there while we're dissecting parts and learning songs from scratch. And so through that process, I did jot down some notes. A lot of the time, I would internalize the groove and the feel, or I might jot down and transcribe uh, key parts of the groove if I needed to help remember it and retain it. And then I would write out the form though. So verse, chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, all those different things. Um, I would write out the form, and then if there were specific fills that I felt like were important to emphasize, then I would write out and notate a fill or something like that. So that was kind of my chicken scratch. But for the most part, I really did just try to internalize and live with the music in my own time, so that when I came to rehearsal, again, it was just coming out of me rather than having to think about everything or read a sheet. And
Well,
so,
it's hard to have a great feel when you're, yeah, like reading, or you're kind of
right,
distracted with that, and it is so much better if you could get kind of the spirit of the song and kind of merge into
yes,
it. Yeah.
yeah. And that was one thing that was really cool about Prince too, because Third Eye Girl, I've heard stories about different eras and different bands, and um, whether or not he gave people freedom of expression. But I know, speaking from the Third Eye Girl era and the time that I spent with him, he was very much like, here's the bones of the song, here's the bones of the groove, here's kind of what we're going for. But like, I trust you, just play, just express. Let's just communicate. Let's all be on the same page. But he very much left it open for our musical interpretation and trusted what we were bringing to the table as well in that capacity. So yeah, I really just tried my best to memorize the songs, get to know the songs, and not rely so much on note taking, but just allow it to be an
Organic, I
extension
guess.
of my expression. Yeah,
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 yeah.
for sure.
Had you ever played or met any of the other players before?
Beforehand, no.
Wow.
So
That's
I
kind of
came
exciting
in.
in a way, though. Like, getting to
It
jam with,
totally
especially
was.
when there's just going to be talent just exploding in the room.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, to play with Prince is just it's a big deal. And so it was 2012. I went for my audition at Paisley and I came the first part of my audition was actually was by video virtually. And so he asked me to send 3 songs of me playing and I sent them. And then after that, he asked if I could sing, and then I sent a video of me singing. And then I got invited to actually come in person to Paisley Park and jam and audition. Kind of that was the last half of the audition, and there I jammed with him and met Ida, who is the bass player for Third Eye Girl. So I did meet her at my audition, but beforehand, had never met anyone else in the band or otherwise.
What were the butterflies like that day? Is it pretty severe?
Oh my gosh, yes. It was crazy because you hear so many stories about Prince being like a weirdo. And as a 22-year-old girl who still, I had a lot of local experience, a lot of gigging experience, a lot of performance experience, but at that level, I hadn't had that level of professional experience and exposure. And so this was a big break for me.
Oh yeah, that's so
And
amazing.
when
I can't.
you're
'Cause I'm still like
when
22, man.
yeah,
Dang, it's
like
crazy.
what? Um, but when you're meeting Prince for the first time as a 22-year-old girl and it's your first big break, there's a lot riding on this moment. And you hear so many stories like, don't look him in the eye, don't wear this, don't say that, don't have your cell phone out. If there's all these don'ts and do's and rules
Oh
and
my gosh, that's
stories. And
stressful. It's
so
already stressful
I
enough,
know
man, without having to think about all that.
exactly.
Holy crap.
And so I'm sorry if I'm shaking my camera. I'm getting all excited here, but
No, I take it, man. I love
I'm
your
like
I love your vibe and your energy. You're
uh,
like, give me that. Yeah. Rah. It's awesome.
clearly I just spend all day around kids and I don't get adult interaction. No, I'm just kidding.
Good.
But yeah, no, I was so excited. I remember growing up, I would tell my dad, I would say stuff before shows like, I'm so nervous. I have butterflies. I'm nervous. My dad would say, we need to remove nervous from your vocabulary. You don't have a reason to be nervous if you're prepared. So if you work hard and you put in the necessary work, you'll be prepared. Replace nervous with excited and deliver exactly what you prepared. And so from the moment that he did that, it changed something in my brain. And so now when I feel those butterflies, even to this day, it's about excitement. It's about living in the moment and being present. And so I did that in my hotel room right before I was taken to the studio to meet Prince. I was like, we're not nervous, we're excited, we're prepared. You're a likable girl. Like I gave myself a pep talk and I was like, just go and be yourself. If it's
Yeah.
for you, it's for you. If
Right.
not, God's got something even better, if you can imagine that. But
Right.
I just went in and just did my best to be my best, represent myself the best way that I could, be prepared and embrace the process and stay in the moment. And that's what happened.
That's so cool. That's such an inspiration, Hannah. I mean, seriously,
Thank
like people need to
you.
hear stuff like that because it is true. It's like, I was thinking about it the other day, how different it is to play when you're nervous and to play when you're confident. And a lot of
Yeah.
times, you know, that confidence can define how well you're going to do. Like if you're confident, you can
Hmm.
play like a beast, but if you're
Yes.
nervous, you're going to be very timid. And I
Yeah.
always liken it to like just run and jump off the cliff. Just run and jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
Just
Just
go,
go.
just freaking go for it. Like
Yes.
leave all your cares and worries behind and just
Yep.
go for it, and I think people
Yeah.
need to hear that, and recognize that how important it is, obviously, to be prepared, but also just to have that confidence with you when you go in, because that makes a
Yeah.
big difference. And it sounds like you guys all just gelled so well together. So how many years all together were you guys playing together?
4. So from 2012 all the way up until he passed, we were together.
Wow, that's so crazy, man. I mean,
Yeah.
what a what a huge honor. I know that was for you.
Yeah.
And so since then, you've just been making a lot of babies. I'm just
Literally,
playing.
creativity never stopped. It just took on a new face.
Right, exactly.
So,
Like many
different type of
faces, like
expression.
5 or 6 faces, maybe.
More actually. Yeah. Exactly.
No,
Yes.
but
Oh my goodness.
the life that you and your husband have, you guys are always very inspiring and motivating with your
Thank
faith and
you.
everything. And I think that's so
Yeah.
important, and especially like in rock music. I don't know that it's
Oh
talked
gosh,
about
yeah.
enough, and so I think it's so cool how much you guys share about your faith and how much that carries you through each and
Yes.
every day. But as far as drumming goes, I know I just saw your post recently about your new Toka signature snare. You got to tell everybody about it. Do you have one sitting there to show?
Okay, I do, but
Okay.
it's still this is the prototype. So
Okay.
it
Okay. Yeah.
doesn't have like the Toka badge and the lioness badge, my logo badge, but this is the drum here, guys. Look how pretty.
It's so cool, man. And it's so genius, too. It's like you've combined a snare and a tambourine into one
Yes.
thing, right?
Yes.
So smart.
So this is what I love about this so much, and I'm so grateful to Toka and their involvement and their trust in me, like with this vision and this collaboration, because they reached out and they said that they wanted to create a product. And at first, I was just taken aback and honored, of course, and just humbled. And the question that they asked me was, think about your setup, think about your kit. Has there ever been something that you wished you had that you don't? And let's see if we can make it for you. And
God,
they
somebody to ask
actually,
that question alone is so
right?
cool,
And
man.
to think of all the different things that you could do and all the places you can go as a
Right.
percussionist,
Uh-huh.
that's just a dream come true. And so
Wow.
Toka actually used to have something called the jingle snare years ago that they discontinued. And I loved it, but it was a lot smaller and I mean, that thing, the crack on that thing was just incredible. I loved it. But I beat that little thing to a pulp and then they discontinued it. And I just had the bright idea of let's reimagine this, let's reinvent this, but actually make it a solid auxiliary snare, something that can take the heavy beating, that just really sings beautifully. And so we took time this past year to really think about the dimensions and the sound and the placement of the jingles so that they sing, but also so that they're not overwhelming and like dominating too much in a microphone or on a track. And so, man, this drum sounds so good, and uh, it's for me, the vision is for it to be an auxiliary snare. So I always kind of have my auxiliary snares off to the left. But when I was testing it and playing around with it, I even put it in the middle as the main snare. And the jingles, like I said, they sing enough to be heard, but they're also not so overbearing that you couldn't play a whole show with it as your main snare if you wanted to or needed to for whatever reason. So it's man, an incredible honor. Shout outs to Toka. I love you guys so much, and just thank you for trusting me with this collaboration. But yeah, I am so proud of this, and I can't wait to post videos with it. I know a lot of people have been like, "We want to hear it.
I
Can
want to
you
hear
post?"
it, man.
Right?
Come on.
I
Stop.
know. I know. And so that is definitely on my list of things to do, is to get some awesome
Yeah.
demos and just different videos of me playing around with it to show you guys what it sounds like, and how it can be used in different environments.
Yeah. And it comes just in purple. Is that right?
just in purple
That's right,
because I'm a
man.
purple girly.
I love that.
Um,
That's so awesome. That is awesome.
yeah,
It's beautiful too.
thank you,
And if
thank you
if
so
it
much.
if you guys haven't seen it, she has it up on her different social media channels, and you can check it out. She's got pictures with her with it, and it is so pretty, man. I was checking it out, and I cannot
Thank
wait to hear
you.
that for sure. And then you also have a docu series that you're working on, right?
Well, it's available now. Joshua and I, this thing was such a labor of love. So I got pregnant the first time in end of 2015, and we had our daughter in 2016. And once I became a mom, I really took a step back musically, at least performing and touring. Joshua and I have still consistently been writing and recording and creating. And we have a publishing deal. So a lot of what we do musically now is behind the scenes where we write and record, we send our music to a publisher and they place it for us in movies and TV shows and trailers and ads and commercials. And that's kind of been the side of the industry that we've been most actively on since Prince passed. But other than that, I really took a step back from drums. I mean, even with that stuff, the majority of my involvement has been with singing more than playing the drums. And I'll throw some drums on there if Joshua needs, but he's such a killer producer that like he don't really need me a lot. So when he needs a female voice,
You're
that's where
there.
I come in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been what we've been doing musically pretty much since 2016. And I was starting to feel the nudge and just the pull. Honestly, I didn't miss the drums. After Prince passed, I needed a break. I needed the breather, and so much happened and it felt like so much went crazy, you know. I was 28 weeks pregnant the day that he passed. And
That's
so I'm rounding
a
the
lot
end
of
of my it's
emotions at once, right? Because you're in
it's a
that.
lot. It's a
Yeah.
whirlwind
Yeah.
because, I'm experiencing like one of the greatest heights that you could ever experience in becoming a mom, but then at the same time, one of the deepest lows that I've ever
Yeah.
experienced
Yeah.
when it
Yeah.
comes to loss and losing not just a fellow musician, but literally someone who was a brother to us, also pseudo father figure, who was also like so excited about our daughter and was like, what do we do? Do we build her a school? What are we doing for her? How do we, make sure that she's got everything she needs?
That's not
This
something
was
you hear every
all,
day. What do we build her a
yeah,
school?
literally. He's like, how do we do this?
So amazing.
And so he was so excited.
I love
When we were
that.
at one of the memorials, so many people after the fact came up to us. Azaria, I think at that point was 4 weeks old or so. I think it was August of 2016. People were coming up to us at that memorial and they were like, Prince was so excited for your baby. He called me and he told me you were pregnant. We had no idea he was calling everyone and telling them that we were having a baby.
Oh my
But
God. Wow.
we knew his excitement and the joy that he felt for our family starting and expanding. And so there was just so much, so many highs and lows in 2016 that I needed the breather. I needed to take a step back. And I just was like, okay, I'm diving into motherhood and that's it for a while. Then we kept having babies. 2018 came and I got pregnant again. And then 2020 came and I got pregnant again. And
Did you ever, like, when you started all this, were you like, okay, when I get older, I want to have X amount of kids? Or are you just kind of like, whatever happens, happens?
so, I grew up, I'm one of six kids. Joshua is also he's one of six boys. So they have all boys on their side. We have an even split on my side, 3 and 3. And growing up, I did always say I wanted to have six kids because that's what I grew up with. And I loved having siblings. My siblings to this day, we are all best friends. We
That
love
is
each other
so
so much. We
cool,
support
man.
each other and everything. And I just loved having my siblings, through thick and thin. And
Yeah.
so I wanted that for my children. I wanted to have a big family. But then once we had one, we were kind of like, let's not put a number down in permanent marker. Let's just take it one at a time and see what happens. And that's literally been our approach. And every time we haven't had any surprises or uh-oh babies, we've been intentional. And with all six now, it's been like, hey, let's have another. Let's do this. Let's go for it. And this is just, the family that God has called us to build. And it is such a journey. It's such a blessing. And we absolutely love it. But um, with all that being said, motherhood has been very, I mean, it's a very demanding job, honestly. And it was around 2020 where I started to finally miss the drums. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Am I, is it time now to kind of ease back in? Should I start playing again? And um, even though I was starting to feel that inclination toward the drums, I still had after that it was 4 years of pretty much no activity. There were pockets here and there where I went and did a master class at Sweetwater and did the Chicago Drum Show. So I did some one-offs, but it wasn't anywhere near as consistent as it had been my whole life at that point. And so when I started to feel this pull to get back into it, I still also battled with a lot of fear and insecurity because from 2016 to 2020, even though it's 4 short years, social media drumming, social media, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok blew up. And as you know, I'm sure that totally changed the music
Oh
industry.
yeah, things are
And
so different now, and it's like, I mean,
yes,
like you don't need labels anymore. You can go straight to
no,
Spotify, and you're just
yep,
whatever. It's crazy. COVID, I
yeah,
mean, made a huge difference,
yeah,
and I mean that's why this show even exists. You know,
that's
is from
awesome.
COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. And so it's like, and I know that was a tumultuous time for the world. And so I don't think that it's all bad per se, but I do know that for me, because that change shifted so much in the industry, so much of what I was used to was not necessary. Like it wasn't it just wasn't familiar territory. And so at that point, I'm wanting to kind of come back into the fold, but everything is different. I don't know how to be a social media drummer. Like, what am I supposed to
I
do?
know. Is there like lessons we could take for
I'm a
this?
performer. I want to be out. I want to perform. I want to be in front of the crowds. And,
Right.
it's just vastly different. And so I had a lot of self doubt that I was fighting, a lot of insecurities. What is my message? What do I have to say now after being almost radio silent for 4 years? What do people expect from me? What do they want from me? What do I have to offer? And so I went through a lot of just soul searching and finding my voice again and my why after becoming a mom. So much of my purpose and my identity went to loving my children and my family. And so now, where drumming once was my baby and my sole purpose and my sole focus, I'm having to share that space and that affinity in my heart, if you will, with my actual babies and trying to find that rhythm, pun intended, of how do I express this love that I've had my entire life for the drums, simultaneously caring for my physical, literal, like heart walking outside my body with my babies. And it has been a journey. And I still haven't done it perfectly, but Back to Basics is my docu-lesson series where Joshua and we just took time really dissecting that journey, coming from motherhood back into the drums. And so every episode, oh, I'm trying to remember now. I think it's 10 episodes, 10 or 12, where every episode starts as a documentary style episode with backstory on a specific topic. And then that episode journeys into and closes with tips and tricks and exercises and things that I've either learned throughout my career or things that I was actually doing at the time of recording to build my chops back up, exercises. So it starts as a documentary and ends as a lesson, and so that's why we call it a docu-lesson series. Um, and yeah, it was it was a journey to make. I'll tell you, a lot of tears, a lot of confronting, like, things that I didn't even realize were inside of me, fears and thoughts and insecurities that I didn't realize I had until I was stepping out to create this product.
Well, it's like it's a whole nother venue, you know. It's just totally different.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely just my heart, wearing my heart on my sleeve. And Joshua, because he is the closest person to me, he knew he knew when I was playing it safe. He was like, "Babe, you need to dig deeper here.
You got this.
That's not gonna work."
That's so
So,
cool.
it was incredible, and he is just absolutely amazing. We produced it all in-house, video, editing, music, all of it. And it really is a product of love and a lot of heart and a lot of just vulnerability and transparency, but also some fun musical tips and lessons and aspects to it as well. So that is actually available on my website at hannahjwelton.com.
Yep, we just
It's called
plugged it
Back
in
to
there for
Basics.
everybody to
Oh,
click on it too,
perfect.
so everybody can
Oh,
check
okay, cool.
in the
Thank you.
comments there and click on the link and check that out. That's so cool, very
Yeah.
cool, man.
Yeah.
I just realized, Hannah, like I feel bad because I just told the folks who are watching, I'm like, we're over here chatting and I'm just enthralled in our conversation. It's so cool to talk to you. It's been a long time. And, you know, when you were here for Drumathon, it's not like we get to chat. I'm just like running all over the place.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah,
don't
you
get
were
to hang
nonstop
out.
for
I
that.
know, dude.
Yeah.
So it's really great to actually get a chance to sit down and chat with you. And so I want to make sure that there's that we cover some of the questions here that people have and comments.
Yes,
So let me
let's do
back
it.
up a second and I'll go back. First of all, your dad says that you guys do still have the Remo,
I
and then it was fun. Remo Billy himself, Billy. I should know that.
Oh, yes.
I
You know
should know
what?
how to say
Yes.
his name. So you got to
So
fix
Mr.
me,
Remo, that's
Mr.
what we
Remo.
call him.
Okay,
We just call him Mr. Remo.
that's
Because
funny.
we're country. The moment we start trying to say like
That's
foreign
awesome.
names
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Italian
We're
names,
gonna mess that up.
we're just like, "Hey, Mr.
And here
Remo."
I dove
Yeah.
right into it and probably put my foot in my mouth. But yeah, Mr. Remo gave it to you guys. Exactly. That's
Yes.
so cool. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
And
that was a blessing.
we have a question from Clarence. He says, how much of your kit changed from when you auditioned for Prince versus when you toured with him?
You know what? That's a really great question. I will say probably the biggest and most drastic change was the 3 kick drums. I already had 2, and my main kick was, I believe, usually 22 or 24 inches. I've always kind of gone back and forth depending on the kit, with those 2 sizes. And then the auxiliary kick that I had before Prince was a little 18, I believe, or 20.
I
And
love
so
having the smaller
yeah,
ones.
I had a main kick that was big, and then my auxiliary was smaller to the left. But then when I got my USA custom, the white kit with the gold detail, we got it made as that setup. So one main kick and then the smaller to the left. And he was like, "You know what? Actually, let me run this back. It might have been Joshua, my husband. It might have been his idea. It's either Joshua or Prince. Either of them. One of them said, 'Why not a third? I mean, the band is called Third Eye Girl. Why not 3 kicks?'" And so that is probably the biggest and most drastic change was the 3 kick drums. But other than that, my setup has been pretty consistent throughout my career. Yeah.
Was it weird to add that third kick and did you use it often? Like how many songs do you think you used it in a night? The
You know what?
auxiliary.
I'll tell you the truth. We didn't use that third kick. It was completely just auxiliary.
But even still, it's sitting there, and it probably had to set up differently a little bit. And so, yeah, I saw somebody.
Yeah.
I think it was Keo Stroud that had maybe 2 or 3 different kicks that were different sizes. You know, I'm a metal 80s girl, so you know, I'm used to just having like the two 22s and just boom or whatever. So when
Yeah.
people have different size ones, I'm like, what are you doing? And I remember Keo played like 2 different size ones, and he was like, so on this song I use this one, and on this song and it was a big
Yeah.
difference, and he had them,
Yes.
you know, tuned a lot different. And I was like, that's really cool. Like I've never done anything like that. Like I've always just been like double bass, man, metal time, you know. And so I just get the
Yeah.
double kick drum pedal, and it's like I don't even
Yeah.
look back, but that's pretty fun to have that option,
Yeah.
right? That's very
No,
cool.
it definitely is. And I will say, the auxiliary kick did come into play one time. My main kick with the Third Eye Girl kit too was exponentially, it was a 26. And so that also was an adjustment in trying to find the proper place for the beater alignment so that the rebound on the drum was still comfortable. Because when you have a drum that's that big, the the placement of the beater, if it's too low, it doesn't rebound the right way. You want to hit the center of the drum. And so that took a lot of adjustment to get used to the feel of the beater on the 26. But there was a gig where I beat a hole through that bass drum head and had to
Dog.
play with my left foot
Uh-huh.
on the kick drum that was to the left of
Right.
the main kick.
Right.
And so I had to finish out that song with my left foot, and I was so grateful for just all the years of practice time and
Right.
being faithful over both hands, both feet,
Yep.
getting, you know, like equal balance and stick control and foot control, because I was able to get it done. And I do believe too that was the gig where Pearl Jam's drummer was there, I think, and he had an extra kit or an extra head in his car, and he brought it in, and I think he gave that to me. I never got to meet him and say thank you personally, but I think that was the story I was told, and if it's not true, sorry, but
It's a good story
that
nonetheless.
it's
Come
a
on.
good story. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, but that's a cool side note there.
Yeah. I got a question here from Steven, and you did kind of talk a little bit about this, but just to answer his question, he says, what can you tell us about your new snare, and what is it that you look for in a snare?
Oh, yes. I love this new snare. I think, well, it depends. So this, like I said before, is intentionally an auxiliary snare. And what I look for in an auxiliary snare is a little bit different than what I look for in my main snare. I really want my snare, regardless of if it's the main or the auxiliary, to crack. I like a tight, crack, popping, singing snare. Um, However, on my main snare, what I look for is a little bit more warmth and roundness and body. Um, I like it to have a little bit of depth, but still, like I said, a nice tight crack that sings through the mics. With the auxiliary snare, I actually don't necessarily want as much body and depth. I want even more crack. And so I want it to be a little higher pitched, tighter. I want it to sing a little more and pop almost like a piccolo snare, for reference, for those of us that may know, you know, what
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
means. But
Mhm.
I still, piccolos are still a little too thin
Right.
sounding for me. I still like them. I like them to have a little bit of body. So this auxiliary snare is a 5x12.
Nice.
And so that
That's a
that
great size.
5 inches, yeah, that 5 inches of depth really gives it enough body. I wanted it. I said to the guys at Toka, I was like, I still wanted to push air. You know, I wanted to have some life. I wanted to have a voice, but I don't want it to be too big, where, you know, we lose the crack and the highness of the frequency, if that makes sense. I don't
Totally. No, it totally
very
does.
technical
I
verbiage.
know. Well, you're gonna have to send us, you know, that video recording, and what to play it on one of our shows or something, or have you in for a quick hi, and you know, be able to play the video, could talk
Yeah.
about that specific snare a little bit more. That'd be so cool.
Yeah, love that.
Stephen also says back to basics is extremely inspiring, so I'd be sure that I read that to you. That's
Oh,
cool. And
Thank you,
then
Steven.
we got Kim Lusk. She is the Goddess of Thunder bass player out of Dallas, Texas. She's also a metastatic thriver, a breast cancer thriver out there. So she's kicking tail with that.
Amazing.
She says,
Get it?
do you have imposter syndrome? And if so, how did you overcome it?
You know what's really funny? I got this question years and years ago. I think it was when I was at Drumeo. So around that same time, maybe 2021. And at that time, I said, I never really have struggled with imposter syndrome because uh, I've always kind of been like, you get what you get with me kind of girl. And I don't know if it's like my old school Southern roots, or just a crazy naive confidence that I've had throughout my life. But
Yeah.
at that time, I was just kind of like, no, I'm like, it's take it or leave it.
Right.
I
Right.
show up, I'll perform. You like it or you don't. I'm like, what you see is what you get for the most part. But when I set out to create Back to Basics, I struggled with imposter syndrome because I was trying to be old Hannah. I was trying to be pre-motherhood Hannah. And I was trying to come back at the drums and back to the industry and represent myself with this newfound brand, so to speak, as a mother who's coming back to the music industry and to the drums. But I still tried to do it embodying my former just identity and life. And so at that point, that was one of those things where it was a whirlwind of like, whoa, who the heck am I really?
It's like you're trying to find your new self because you've got
Yes,
this new identity now that's not associated with things
yes,
that it used to be.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because motherhood, man, it changes you and it changes you in the best way. I don't if for those of you that are watching, if you're not mothers yet and you that's on your heart that at some point you want to start a family, I don't want to say that and freak you out because it changes you in the best way. But I know also for the parents that are here, they would all attest to the fact that when you become a parent and you're raising mini yous, you're raising little humans, um, you also have to confront things that are in yourself because you start to see that your kids picked up patterns and characteristics from you naturally that you don't necessarily want them to, right?
Do
So
what I
even
say, not as I do.
poor
That whole
habits.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And so you kind of you get stuck at this crux where you have to make the decision. Am I going to actually correct and transform this behavior in myself so that my kids actually see healthy behavior modeled in this area and then they can themselves live that out? Do I want to set them up the best way possible in that capacity? Or do I want to just continue to ignore now what's been brought to my attention and just keep living my life and going about it that way? And so with motherhood, there were so many changes that came and so many challenges. But yes, I had changed so much since before becoming a mom. And that's when I really felt myself struggling with a lot of insecurity and imposter syndrome because I was trying to be pre motherhood Hannah for the world and it wasn't working
Yeah, because
because it
you're not.
wasn't true to
Yeah,
who I am now.
exactly. I think that speaks to the point of a lot of the things we talked about here. Is I think it's so important to be genuine. I
Yes.
think that that's the thing. And
Authentic.
and if you're being true to yourself, then you just can't lose. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
your true self to everyone around you, and just you know live that life. Don't try to be anything you're not. And
Amen.
yeah, it's so cool. I got one more
Amen.
question here. It looks like, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm way over in time today. I got my time all
Ah,
messed up. I'm so sorry. Okay,
it's okay.
Clarence is asking, what is the difference from playing in a bar versus a stadium? And I presume, I mean, other than the size.
Yeah, right. Other than the decibels of the audience.
Right, and the giant
No, it's
speakers.
yeah, there's a lot. I think it just kind of depends on the aspect of the question, like the perspective. So as a performer, I remember a lot of this is going back to my dad, guys. He raised me in this industry, but I remember being so upset when my band would be at these bars and there would literally be two people, because a lot of the time too, you're playing for the door, and if two people come,
Yeah,
then the
you get
band is making
$5.
20 bucks.
Yeah, maybe, right?
And
Whatever it
split
is.
five ways.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
So, yeah, I remember just feeling so let down if we didn't have a packed house at those gigs. And my dad was like, you know what, baby girl, you cannot worry about those that did not show up. You perform for the two like it's 2,000, like it's 200, and you be faithful over your performance and what you're delivering, and you just keep pushing. And that literally, so as far as what's different to that capacity as a performer, I really tried to have just like that genuine integrity for there to not be a difference, whether I was playing in a club to three people or an outdoor festival to 30,000 or 60,000. I wanted to make sure that I was performing my best and giving whoever was there the best night of their life, um regardless of how many people were there. But also, I think one of the big things that we even loved with Third Eye Girl, because we did smaller, more intimate venues and we did arenas. So, one thing that we all really loved about the smaller venues versus the arenas is that they're so intimate. You really feel the energy differently in those smaller clubs and bars because y'all are all right on top of each other. All of the excitement of that place being packed, and it's just such a tight confined space that it just feels like it can't hold all the excitement
Right, right.
and
It's
energy,
exploding.
and it's just a different atmosphere and a
Yeah.
different
Well, and
spirit
you
in that
can
place.
look at people in the eye in that scenario.
Yes,
Like
you
a
can
lot of
see
times,
people, you're
right,
interacting, and you
right.
can hear their
Mm-hmm.
voices, and it just is it's really special. Now, that's not to say though that the arena shows weren't special and incredible in their own ways. There is nothing like opening up with 1999, ba, ba, da, jugga, 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 ga, and the
Yes.
horns are blasting, and 60,000 people go,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt.
and you see, like, Prince would tell people, because it was a big rule, like no phones at the shows. But he would tell people every now and then, like, take out your flashlight on your phone and wave it around like this. And when you're in an arena and you see 60,000 people doing that, it's incredible. There's nothing like it. So I'm not necessarily saying one is better than the other, but they each have their own uh, just sweet aspects
Yeah,
to
special things
both
to
sides.
them.
So
Yeah, it's just totally
yeah,
different, but both are very very awesome. It sounds like
yeah,
I was like, this is gonna be the last question, but Steven popped in another question that I'm just like, I need to know
that's
the
okay.
answer to this one because it's a
Yeah.
good one. He says, do you have any funny Spinal Tap kind of moments when performing?
Mm. You know what's funny? Look, this is y'all don't judge me.
Oh my God. Everybody
No, no,
start
no, no.
recording
Oh,
now.
sorry. See, look, my camera. But no, this is gonna be. This is how y'all know. I'm gonna be 100% honest.
Let's do
I
it.
know I should know. I've never seen Spinal Tap, and so I'm gonna need you, April, to help me with rephrasing this question
Oh,
so that
you
I
got it.
answer it properly.
I'm with you.
Because
It's okay. I got
oh,
you.
okay.
You can't escape being authentic. So this is good. So
No, like I'm not gonna
so
try to flub
for
it.
example, like okay, there's a couple of moments in it where one was where they're backstage and they're trying to walk to the stage and they get lost.
Okay.
And they can't find the stage, so they're like, "Where's the stage?" And they get all lost. Another one
Okay.
was
Yes.
like they were supposed to have these big Stonehenge statues come down, and they were going to be these
Okay.
giant Stonehenges, and they ended up being like 3 feet tall. And so it was like embarrassing. And then there was another moment where like the guitar players were in these like kind of like encompassed in sort of like a cocoon or something. And then it was supposed to open at the specific part in the show. And then they were supposed to come out and one of the guys' things didn't open properly. So he's like stuck in there trying to play guitar while he's holding it upright.
No.
So like silly stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this might count, and if it doesn't count, then I'll try to think of something else. Just let me know, and I'll re-answer it.
I'm sure it'll be great.
I don't remember where we were, but it was a Third Eye Girl show, so not the big band, not NPG. It was Third Eye Girl, and me and Donna and Ida were literally walking together backstage, just like in the backstage area. I don't know if we were going to the hair and makeup room from our dressing room, or where, like, I don't know where we were headed. Maybe we were going to catering because we were eating a lot. And so we're all foodies. But we were stopped by security, who was wearing a badge, by the way, with our band picture on it. So our faces were on his badge.
And he's like, excuse me.
And he stops us and was like, where are your credentials?
Oh my God, like, are you serious?
Right there.
You're like, do you not like grab his badge and you put it by your face? You're like, hey, how did he react? Oh my God, that's funny.
He just, like security, they got to be big and tough and like, they can't break character most of the time. Every now and then we had some really cool security guards that were just awesome, but he was one that was just there locally. He wasn't touring with us, so he wasn't familiar with who we are. He knows he's working for Prince. You know what I mean? Like he don't know us, but,
right?
It was just a really funny, surreal moment because we're just walking minding our business thinking we've got like full reign to the place, and he stops us and he's like, I'm sorry, you can't go back there because that's for the band. And we're like, oh
no, that's fitting. That's a perfect Spinal Tap moment. That's perfect. Okay, you did really good. But if you think of other ones, you're gonna have to text me and let me know because that's pretty funny. And in the meantime, I'll be sending you a copy or access to watch Spinal Tap from your home.
Oh my gosh, yes, please do. Because you know what's so funny is growing up in the industry, I always heard about it and people always referenced it. I just never actually saw it. So
well, it's funny because I've never seen Blues Brothers. And that's another one that everybody, or Animal House. Like I've never seen
years ago.
Yeah, and I still haven't seen those, and I'm like, I need to see those. So I'll watch Blues Brothers. Okay. You watch Spinal Tap, and then we'll regroup or something. But no, it's excellent. Okay. And now Spinal Tap, like the second one came out more recently, and you know who Dorothea is, right?
Yeah,
she has a cameo in it. So yeah, dude, yes, you have to check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I've got to see that one too. But wow, okay, I've taken way too much of your time. It's such a pleasure to get a chance to chat with you. Super excited about the Sarah Drum, your docu-listens and everything. So many cool things going on, and just man, you're just an inspiration, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to chat with all of us here today. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me, April. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I honestly love the opportunity to be able to just sit and chat and encourage each other and just, speak life. And I just want all of y'all to know that there is something in you that makes you special, you unique. And if it isn't released from you, then the world is missing out on something really special. So whether you are a musician, a drummer, a singer, whatever it is that brings you here tonight, we all have that creative capacity to release something incredible into the world. And the world is really thirsty and looking for that authenticity and that love and light. So be bold, release it, express it, and just be authentically you. And I just thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, girl. Thank you. That is beautiful. And those are words to live by. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. And I look forward to talking to you real soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care, girl.
You too. Bye.
See ya. Bye. Everybody give it up for Hannah Welton, man. Be sure to check out hannahjwelton.com for her docu-lessons, all about motherhood and everything and how she got to where she is today. Got to check that out. Super stoked to see it. And I can't wait to see that purple auxiliary snare drum out there by Toka soon as well. So be sure to keep an eye open for that. Hopefully we'll get some video from her soon. We'll be able to share that with you guys. I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I want to thank Rosie for being our guest earlier tonight. I was just thinking after her talk, I was talking to our producer. I was like, man, she was talking about so many things that I wasn't familiar with, and I've got to get in touch with her and talk to her and learn more about some of the things that she went through, because that was very eye-opening. And I really, one of the things I want to do is learn more and more about all that's going on with breast cancer out there and all the different experiences, and be able to share that with you guys. And so thank you, Rosie, for being a guest tonight. We really appreciate you being here. And Hannah, again, thank you for being on. To our producer, Izzy Simonian, thank you so much for the show this evening, girl. I know you put a lot of work into this every single time. And we will see you guys again here in a few weeks. Our next show, actually, we're going to be doing Mighty and Metastatic. I believe that's going to be on April the 7th, if I have that right, co-hosted by the incredible Goddess of Thunder, Kim Lusk, who is Mighty and Metastatic herself. So April the 7th should be our next Mighty and Metastatic show. Please be sure to join that. We'll be having our new format in this horizontal format, carrying this through to YouTube and then over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podbean. Anywhere that you listen to your podcasts, we are available. So be sure to check that out. And then the Beat broadcast will be back again the third Tuesday of April. Cannot wait for that. See us at the Music City Drum Show coming up in July in Nashville, and the Chicago Drum Show in May. Check us out there. We got things going on. Keep up with us on all of our social media channels. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and we will see you next time. Have a great evening.